Hey, it's Montana. Today, my hometown issued its stay-at-home order officially, and the sparkling water I just pulled out of the fridge is already flat. So that's how my day is going. Anyway, this is my second attempt at the lilsimsie shell challenge. Because my first one ended up just as an entirely different build, and that felt really a lot like cheating. So I built this one so it didn't look as much like cheating. Alright. It is, I've been calling it a converted factory. It's not really big enough to be a factory feeling space, so it just kind of looks like a weird lab that I turned into a house, but it definitely is a house. Like, I definitely made a living space out of this. It has a bedroom and a bathroom and a kitchen. It even has a little living room in it, but I did put in a whole bunch of random technology. I scrolled through debug for a very long time. I'm never sure. Okay, so I don't have Moschino stuff, and I know Moschino stuff has really cool windows, like really nice factory-looking windows. And God, it's so flat. Gross. Right. I don't have Moschino stuff. So I have a hard time with like industrial windows because I don't really have a way to put them in or to put curtains on them. Like, all curtains look weird. Just all the curtains look weird. When you get close to an industrial window, it doesn't make any sense for there to be curtains. Like, it just doesn't look good. So I really struggled with that, and then I decided just to make it look like outdated on the inside. So instead of fighting with curtains, trying to make them match the factory feel, I just put in like really old, gross curtains. And that worked for me. I was okay with that. Now, diagonal bathroom was interesting, and it's where I started because I knew it was gonna be weird. So diagonal bathroom was an adventure because everything has just a little bit more room than you think it should, because that's how geometry works with these squares. So I did in a rustic, old-fashioned bathroom that looked like it was made of like salvaged parts from the factory, and then also just bathroom accoutrement. I spent a lot of time up here because, again, I've been working on my bathrooms, but also just because it felt like a good place to start. Like, there were a lot of weird bathroom objects, so I was pretty comfortable starting in the bathroom to sort of give me a feel that I was going for. Because after I added these curtains, I knew that I wanted like an old-fashioned feel to it. Like, whoever owns this currently was not the first person to live in this weird renovated factory. Or if they are, they've been living in it for 30, 40 years. Was what I wanted it to feel like, and I think that was pretty successful. You know, just putting some stuff in all the things, making it look like a bathroom. I do add laundry at the very end, almost as an afterthought. And I cover this build in those jungle adventure wall crack things. Because I want it to look old. There you go. Simple as that. I made the flooring in the bathroom linoleum and the flooring everywhere else metal. And I kind of looking at it now, I kind of wish I'd made the kitchen linoleum too. I think that would have given it some variety. It would have been interesting. I did my best to make this bedroom look like it was temporary. And and that whoever is living here just ended up staying longer than they meant to in this temporary space. Almost like they were a squatter. And it was supposed to be temporary, but like it's not anymore, so might as well add a plant. That kind of vibe. It's got just what I was hoping looked like repurposed furniture, and old furniture. I believe I start to put clutter in here too. That's like files and boxes and things. Ooh, I almost never use that drop cloth because I'm like, why would I use a drop cloth rug? I hate that. But I actually like it in this instance because it's a repurposed item. It's perfect. I want to do a poll. Does anybody use that weird food rug ever? Even in like nasty, creepy builds, does anybody put the weird food rug down? Because I think that's gross, and I don't know what's up with that. Like, who does that? It's very confusing. Throughout this build, you'll see me take objects that I find that I like, but that don't fit the room, and I'll put them in the room I want them in, but just kind of willy-nilly. Like, I definitely don't place them where I intend for them to be. I just kind of shove them over into the room I know I want them in. It felt relatively effective. This was the first time I ever changed the colors of the weird get-to-work pipes. Generally, I just use them as they are, but this time I color-coded them. I made every pipe thing I used green because I wanted this green exterior feel, which I think I accomplished because I also made the corrugated roof green. I have this obsession with privacy for bedrooms for Sims, so I put a little curtain over the archway. Anytime there's a pause in one of my speed builds, assume my YouTube video ended and I had to stop what I was doing and put something else on, and it took me like a minute and a half. So there's a weird 15-second pause. That's what it is. I was fighting with this stove because it has the bits that stick out on either side, so when it snaps to the grid in a corner, it cuts off most of it. It looks really weird and silly. So I still think it looks a little dumb. But I made my decision and I'm sticking to it. I tend to take the curtains off windows if I'm going to put cabinets over them. And I did put cabinets over them. I didn't really do much with this kitchen, but it looks fine, I think. I really like the random furniture you can get from the flea market. I know that's weird, but I like lived-in looking items. So I really enjoy the Trash or Treasure furniture from the flea market. So I use the Trash or Treasure couch here, and you can see the Trash or Treasure lamp in the bedroom on the side table. That was me taking those objects that I set aside and putting them where I was actually okay with them being. Yeah, this is sort of the same thing that I'm doing right now, where I'm just putting down objects that I would like to use. And I'll sort out where exactly I want them in a minute. Now that I'm looking at it, I kind of wish I'd put in that weird Strangerville bar. Kind of bummed I didn't do that. Because I do have a lot of floor space at the end of this, and I probably could have put the bar against that window where I have the robotics station, and still had room for the robotics station. But it's already happened. It's in the past. There is no point dwelling on it. I never use the city living stuff that makes it look like your apartment, to use the law trait, needs TLC. I never use that stuff. So that was a fun thing to be able to use. And then I just pulled out my old standards. All the random equipment looking stuff. Again, I told you I was making those pipes green for some reason. I don't know why I settled on green either. It was like the first thing I gravitated to, and I was like, yeah, that looks decent. I just left it. Just everything was green from then on. I have no idea what that was about. I'm just like that, apparently. I shoved the tiny living desk into the corner. I wish we had some more ratty looking small desks, but I understand that that's not exactly a thing that a lot of people are after. It's a pretty nice computer though. I like that, the way that computer looks. I don't know why. I know that's weird. I just like the way that computer looks, so stuck it in. And this is me pulling out all the weird file looking stuff. Any and all odd clutter. Things that I don't have to, justify in the space. Things that just look weird and that's why they're there. I really like that shelf with all the weird random stuff on it. That's one of my favorite shelves. I also like in these builds to use the scuba diving shelf from Island Living. It isn't supposed to look like it's got random Doomsday Prepper items on it, but that's what it looks like. And I put it in these builds all the time. You can see it in my basements, my weird creepy basements. I just do it all the time because it has a very similar feel. I remember correctly, I start putting stuff under the stairs. Yep. I do. Again, I told you these weird wall cracks that I'm so obsessed with. Everywhere. I just put them everywhere. Gotta love a good cracked wall. And rugs, yes. I love this Strangerville rug. Even though it's not technically a rug. I just like the detail of being able to put stuff on the floor. Like, scary stuff. Love scary floor stuff. No. I can hear my accent getting worse when I'm annoying. It's hilarious. I've never used that Get Famous floor texture before. That Get Famous rug, quote unquote. That just looks like a crack in the floor and dirt. I've never used that before. I like the look of it. I thought I was going to use the plain wings for the longest time, but I was trying to make this on a smaller lot. So I end up getting rid of them because I forget what pack has the whole plane. I think it might be Get Famous. I'm not sure. I'm sure I'll see it while I'm placing debug stuff in the yard. But there's something that has like a whole broken down plane as opposed to just the plain wings. This I almost said enjoyed. I didn't enjoy roofing a diagonal building. This I was surprised by because you'd think you'd remember that this build is diagonal, but you really won't. You'll get mad and forget why the roofing isn't working every single time. Like you'll move on to the next part of the build and it won't work and you'll get annoyed and forget. And then there's pieces that look like they're diagonal, like this section right here, but that's just a regular roof. Like that part of the build wasn't diagonal. It's so annoying. It was so annoying. But it's fine. I think it's fine. I really should have done the roofing before I placed fun, exciting things I was excited about on the outside of the build. And then there's that weird blank space over the door. I'm not sure when I addressed it. Probably after I put the roof I want on. That weird blank space over the door, I put windows in. Because I just hated how it looked so much. I almost put more random dark green in this build. I'm really glad I didn't do that. Yeah, I start putting windows up there, and I think it's a version of the windows I used the first time. I think I use a version of the get to work windows. I do. Yep. And then I put little planter boxes under them because I think windows look bare without planter boxes. I just feel like they look naked, and I can't do that to them. I hate that planter box doesn't line up with the edge of the window, so I all placed it. Oh, the alarm. Yeah, I put an alarm outside the front. I thought about putting a foundation on this, but it didn't really make sense to me for there to be a visible foundation on this. It just seemed like an old thing, and I don't know. I didn't like the look of a foundation on it, so I never do put a foundation on it. I just add terrain paint all around the bottom. And this is me scrolling through debug, like everyone is known to do, looking for stuff to put in this front yard. Oh yeah, I got carried away by a fence first. I really liked this fence, and I'm sure most of you know, with debug fencing, you have to sit there and add every piece one by one. I come back to that later and place something in that corner I like, because I like that these two are different lengths. Like, I like that the left comes down a little further than the right. I just like the gap that it gives. I'm not sure why I like that. It's not the best feature, but I was actually really happy with it. Yeah, this is pretty boring. Oh, why didn't I put the flamingo down? That would have been such a cute touch. I leave a bunch of old mail outside the front door. You know, not a whole lot to talk about when you're looking at debug. Do you want, what would you want me to talk about? What do people want to hear about? I don't know, I played Dungeons and Dragons today. Well, I DM'd Dungeons and Dragons today. It's really hard to DM. I played yesterday, and I like to play. I like being a player. And I like DMing, don't get me wrong, but it's a very different skill set. It takes a lot of focus and a lot of on-the-fly thinking, and I'm just, some days I'm bad at it, and this was one of those days. But my players had fun. They said they had fun, and that's good. I had a whole plan, and they're so bad at catching clues. Like, they got caught on the idea of goblins in our very first session. And every time they're like, it's the goblins! And I have to tell them that this really isn't a goblin thing. That was a throwaway comment. Not real. So I finally brought back some goblins and made goblins part of the storyline, and they missed it. They completely didn't catch it. And I'm so annoyed. They had been... Okay, so they've been in the Underdark, because they're chasing something that, unbeknownst to them, is goblins now. I just wish they'd pay more attention when I tell them these things, you know? Oop, I said I wouldn't do voices until we got to 10 views. I'm a person of my word. Okay? I need to get to 10 views on a single video before I do accents. Do you think more people would watch my videos if I was already doing accents? What if I tagged them accents? Is that a thing that people search for on YouTube? Do people search for accents? I don't know anymore. I don't know anything anymore. Oh, wait. Oh man, I missed it, and I'm not willing to compromise the timestamps being slightly different between these, because I always get cut off when I back up to check. But if somebody saw which pack that broken down plane comes from, shoot me a message. Maybe it's Jungle Adventure. It's probably Jungle Adventure. That's when I decided I didn't want the plain wings. And I found a pile of money in debug and I put it on the desk because that's how these things work. You can tell when I get close to the end of debug because I just start scrolling. Yeah. I tried to get some more Strangerville in there, but I really wasn't feeling it. Even though I put this build in Strangerville, but really didn't care a whole lot. I honestly put those clotheslines down to remind me to get the actual clothesline, but I didn't. I didn't need to. I know what I want sometimes. I forget things very easily, so I tend to put down little reminders places in the form of similar objects, so I remember that I want to put an object down. But I remembered. It was fine. And now we're just getting into, like, rocks. So I do, like, rocks and trees momentarily, I think. I fill in that gap better, don't worry. That was not the best gap fill of my life. I fill it in way better. Yeah, so I put down the laundry stuff I wanted. Got rid of the random objects I didn't want. I actually really like the little laundry nook I built behind this plane. It's a really weird thing to do, but it was, I think it's super cute. I really like the paths that I put in. That full-size plane engine looks massive next to that tiny plane. I used the observatory because I never used the observatory. I tried to find a way that I was happy with this solar panel, and that's just not a thing. I will never be happy with the solar panel, so it just kind of is what it is. I looked through, I think, every tree in debug, looking for a tree that I liked. And there's just not a lot of trees that I like in debug. Because they're all kind of weird, you know, they aren't meant to be on lots. And I understand that. So I put this one in the background. And so I filled that gap better. I actually am happy with that. Then I had to pick a tree that was a slightly different color for the front. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. But I don't think when you're looking at the lot as a whole, I don't think it sticks out that much. It's not my favorite thing ever. I really like this stump and I wish it wasn't so giant because I'd like to be able to make it like actually small. But it's just not gonna happen. I really like wildflowers, as you can tell. And then I just put terrain paint on everything. I just always put down this kind of grassy dirt thing under everything ever, and that didn't change here. Put it under the whole fence, put it under the whole house, put it under every weird debug tree. Think really killed it with the terrain paint here. Yeah. Looking at it now, I probably should have used the Strangerville wildflowers. Not sure why I didn't, but I stand by my choices. I'm having a great time. Wait. I don't think I've ever seen those flower boxes next to the Strangerville flowers before. Did they just use the flowers out of those flower boxes to create the Strangerville wildflowers? Because that's what it looks like. That's really what it looks like. Wait, go back. Oh, pan back over to the flower box. Oh my god. I feel like that's a discovery. I don't know. Maybe people already noticed. I mean, Strangerville was basically just a reskin of base game worlds, so it would make sense. And this is my little path I put down. I always almost forget to put in a trash can and a mailbox. I'm just terrible with that. But I did remember put it at the edge of the path. I'm happy with it. These are my screenshots. I think I made the shell look unique and interesting, and it's functional, and I'm happy with it. I hate how many times these light bulbs got in my screenshots. All right. Subscribe, like the video. If we can get 10 views on one video, I'll do accents for more than an accidental 10 seconds. All right. Yep, you know you want that.